Alright, hello guys. So this is going to be my first business tip video that's going to be on the channel. So please forgive me if it's a little bit improvised. I'm just going to go for it. I'm not going to do any editing to it. I'm just going to go and give it a go. So I'm going to speak about a subject that I get asked a lot of times. It's whether to register as a sole trader or limited company, and it's a justified question because it can be one of the most important decisions you make as a business when you are starting out. So I'm going to try and answer, what's the best options for you, what are the main differences between the two, and how do you register for them in the first place, because that's also a bit of a difficulty sometimes for some people. So first of all, we're going to go straight into the main differences of between a sole trader and a limited company. So as I go through this, I've made this PowerPoint so you can kind of read the points, and also I'm going to try and add my personal experience and personal thoughts on each one as well. So I'll first read this part and then I'll explain it in myself. So number one, legal structure. So a limited company is a separate legal entity from its owners, whereas a sole trader is not. This means that the limited company has more legal protection and can limit the liabilities of its owners. So what does this mean? When you register as a limited company, you are effectively an entity. That limited company is an entity. It's a registered company. That is not you as a person. So that wouldn't be me, Dario Quacquarelli. It would be my business, Cosmic Camper Vans. When you're a sole trader, that's different. If you register as a sole trader, you're registering yourself as a business. So me, I would register Dario Quacquarelli trading as a business. So the main difference in that is going to be the liability. I'm going to touch on this in a bit more detail in the further slides. So it's basically going to be distinguished where the liability lies for each entity. Number two, taxation. So the tax implications of operating as a sole trader or limited company are different. So basically, as a sole trader, you're going to have different tax things to submit, and as a limited company, you're going to have different tax liabilities and different taxes that you need to pay. Things as a limited company is going to be corporation tax, and as a sole trader, you're going to be paying self-assessment. You're going to register for self-assessment. You're going to pay income tax and national insurance contributions. Number three, control and ownership. So as a sole trader, the owner, which is yourself, would have full ownership and control over the business. However, if you choose to register as a limited company, if you've got partners or other shareholders in that business or the directors, you won't have full control. So if you want to, for example, make a payment of a certain amount, you'll have to have both signatures of both directors, or however many directors there are in the business. So that can be quite detrimental if you're looking for efficiency. For example, as a sole trader, you can just do whatever you want and not got to answer to anyone. However, like in my business in Cosmic Camper, I am the sole director and sole shareholder of the business. So I equally don't have to ask for permission for anyone else to make any decisions within my business or make payments or loans or anything like that. So that's one thing to think of. Number four, cost and administrative burden. So if you're registering as a limited company, you're going to have a lot more accounting and a lot more paperwork to fill out compared to a sole trader. So that means more costs, more fixed costs every year, such as accountancy fees. I think in my business right now, we pay between £6,000 to £10,000 per year in accountancy fees. So that's something to consider. As a sole trader, you're going to have a lot less of that if you do most of it yourself, but you're obviously still going to have costs such as bookkeeping, and still going to need an accountant really to help you submit some self-assessment returns, etc. So you're still going to have administrative costs as a sole trader, but they're just much more higher as a limited company. Number five, growth and investment. So limited companies, and this is definitely something I've experienced, they're going to have much greater opportunities for growth and investment compared to a sole trader. And the reason that is you can issue shares and raise capital from investors, and that can become, those investors can become part of the business, whereas a sole trader, you can't do that. You can still obviously get outside investment as a sole trader, but that person is never going to have any protection or any legal interest in that business. So that's why you're always going to struggle getting funding as a sole trader when it's compared to a limited company. So that's the kind of main differences, the 5 points I've put together. Let's move on. So what are the advantages of a limited company? So number one, and this is without a doubt the main point you need to think about when you're choosing whether to register as a limited company or sole trader, I would always recommend you go as a limited company if you can afford the initial and ongoing costs. And it's down to point one, limited liabilities. So one of the most significant advantages of being a limited company is that it provides limited liability protection for the owners. So that means your personal assets of the directors are separate from the assets of the company. So if in the event the business has any debts or legal claims, the owner's personal assets are protected and they're only liable for the amount of investment in the company. Now, one thing to note here, if you take out a loan in the name of the business, you put a personal guarantee, this voids this part. So you need to be aware, if you do take a loan out in the name of the business and you signed that, you're still liable on a personal perspective. So that's one thing you need to be wary of. So why is this important? And it kind of goes on to number two, separate legal entity. The limited liability aspect of a limited company protects you from having your possessions repossessed. So if you take out a loan for £100,000 as a business, as a limited company, you don't pay that back, the business is going to go into liquidation or you're going to be bankrupt. However, you personally cannot be pursued and have any of your assets taken off you as long as you've not signed any personal guarantees. So that means you can take out, it's far less risky personally to take out funding and investment, etc. in the business. If you do that as a sole trader, that's not true. If you take out an investment as a sole trader, you're completely liable for it personally. So if you don't pay that money back, they can come for your house, they can come for your car, they can come for your motorbike, anything that you've got in your personal name, they can repossess. So that's why it's important. If you're taking out a big risky loan, especially as a business, which is a risky endeavor at any point, for any person, starting a business is risky. So you need to think about that. So number two, separate legal entity. So it's a legal entity away from the ownership. So you can be multiple director. You can, as a person, a personal entity, you can be director of multiple different limited companies. So then also it means you can enter into contracts, has its own assets, it can be sued or sue in its own name, and obviously, as I just touched on before, it protects you from the personal liability from the company's actions and debts. Number three, a limited company has perpetual succession. That means it can continue to exist even if the owner or shareholders change, whereas it can't do that with a sole trader. So that means if you have the plan that you're going to grow a business over 5 or 10 years, you can effectively sell that business, a new director can come into the business and are new shareholders and they'll take over that entity. And that's really important for if you really want to have an exit plan, a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year exit plan in your business, because you want to be able to grow the business, get to a point, say, yeah, okay, I'm on to the next thing now, I'm going to sell this business and then I'm going to move on. You can't do that as a sole trader, really. Number 4, greater access to funding, and again, this is really important. Limited companies can raise funds easier than sole traders because they can issue shares to the investors, which gives them basically, if you want to gain investment in your business as a limited company, you can issue the shares in your business so that investor has a legal claim to certain parts of your business. So it's a share in your business, like you would buy shares in a PLC. And that gives you wider access to a wide range of financing options, and that can help with your expansion and growth plans. And number 5, this is really important as well, credibility and prestige. So if a supplier or a bank or someone is looking between a sole trader and a limited company, they're going to give the limited company much more credibility because it's a real company. And I know it doesn't sound, even a sole trader, you are still a real company, but a limited company means you're registered, you've got more legal duties to abide by, and also it means it's got you got publicized accounting information, so they can see these kind of things. It's all public, and that's also going to touch on a little bit I wrote about later on. So that can help you to attract customers and suppliers and investors and help build a positive reputation in the market. So suppliers are going to look and they're going to ask you, have you got a company number? What's your company VAT number? If you don't have that as a sole trader, then it's just a generic thing it's a generic, stigma within business that if you're not a limited company and you're a sole trader, you're not as credible as a limited company, unfortunately. Okay. So advantages of a sole trader. So it's simple and easy to set up. If you wanted to be a sole trader tomorrow and you're a hairdresser or you're a plumber, a chippy, any kind of trade, anything like that, you could literally register tomorrow as sole trader, register for self-assessment, and then you're a sole trader. You're a single entity. So it's very quick and easy to do, and there's no legal formalities or paperwork required. You got greater control, number 2. So you, as a sole trader, you've got full control over every aspect of your business, from decision making to day-to-day operations. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't have staff. You can still have people working for you as a sole trader. It just means there's never going to be other directors or shareholders in the business, because it's just yourself. So there's also lower cost and administrative burden. So you've just got your own things to do every year, which is your accounting, your self-assessment, etc. And you don't need to hold annual meetings or pay registration fees for the business, etc. Number 4, now this is an interesting concept, greater privacy. So sole traders don't need to disclose their financial information publicly. So if you don't want people knowing how much you're earning every year, or you don't want to file accounts that can be seen in a public manner, then sole trader is going to be a better option for you. So that's why some people do opt for that, because they're going to stay sole. They're not got the ambition, or they're not got the idea they're going to grow a massive business. They don't want people to know how much they're doing every year, so we're going to register as a sole trader. And it's simpler taxation as well. So number 5, sole traders have a simpler taxation system. They only need to file for self-assessment each year, pay income tax and the national insurance contributions on their profits, and that can help to reduce your accounting and legal fees. Very simple, completely different to a limited company. So the disadvantages of a limited company. You've got higher costs and administrative burden. So every year you need to file annual accounts, annual returns. You might need to hold annual meetings if you've got more than one director, etc. And you need to maintain company records. That obviously means there's more work involved. You might need a secretary, you might need a bookkeeper. You're definitely going to need some accountants to help you with all this, because it can get quite a burden if you're doing it all yourself, and you might not be skilled up to it like I'm not. I have to have accountants because I don't know how to file yearly annual accounts, etc. And you need to have that professional advice when you're running a company like that. Number 2, greater regulation. So limited companies are subject to acts such as the Companies Act 2006. So you have to abide by certain rules as a company, and you can't just willy-nilly do what you want. You've got to be able to effectively and legally operate as a business. And that can be, obviously, if you're doing things you're not meant to be, then you need to be aware of that. Number 3, less privacy. So you can at any point go onto Companies House and see what a company has registered or filed their account. You can see who the directors are, where the registered address is, and it's simple. You just go onto Companies House, search in the company name, and you'll see all the information, the filing history, and that's updated regularly. It's a law. You have to do that every single year. A confirmation statement to make sure all the details are the same. And every year a company must submit their annual accounts. So that's all available to see online for any company. So if you're wanting to hide all these things, then don't be a limited company. Also, you can then disclose. You have to disclose this information publicly in the annual accounts, etc. So it reduces the privacy and confidentiality of your business operations effectively. So number 4, complex taxation. So as a limited company, you are subject to corporation tax and VAT, and there's a lot more rules and everything involved in that. So it's a little bit more challenging to navigate compared to sole traders. And I'll recommend speaking to an accountant on these kind of parts. I am going to do a bit of a video later on in a couple of months or so when I get into a bit more detail on these certain subjects. I've got a lot more videos to come before that. So if you are interested in these kind of tips and how I'm operating and showing you guys these things, make sure to follow my socials where I'm putting up daily videos as well, my lifestyle as well as business tips in shorter format. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel where there's going to be a lot more videos coming out like this. So number 5, shared control and not ownership. So if a limited company has multiple shareholders, control and ownership of the company is shared among them. So that can lead to disagreements and conflicts over the direction of the business. I personally, and if you want to listen to my advice, you can do. If you don't, then you're more than welcome to do whatever you want in your lives. I don't like doing business with other people in it as a partnership. And the reason being because eventually you're always going to have a disagreement and conflict. And it can, when money's involved and when business decisions are involved, I like to know that I'm the person making that decision and I don't have to always heed someone else's thoughts, and sometimes that can lead to inefficiency. You're going to lead to an argument, and then that can just make a massive roadblock in business operations. It's going to slow things down and you're not going to be efficient. You're going to lead to an argument, and then you've got to split things up, and it's just going to I've always listened to my peers and people above me, and they've always said don't do partnerships, and that's the same way I operate. I'll work with people on a supplier-buyer relationship, etc., but I don't want to work with people as a shared director or a partnership. If I fail, I know I failed off my own back. I'm not failed off someone else not working hard enough, and I've not had to have an argument. I just don't have to ask other people for permission to make certain decisions in my business. If I feel like it's the right decision to make, I'm going to make that decision based on my own assumptions. I don't need to listen to someone else's who might not have the right intentions in place. So that's the way I look at it. Okay, so we're going to go straight on to a 7-step guide of how to actually register your limited company. So I'm going to flick a couple of pages here so I can actually show you guys how that works, and this will give you the value of the video as well. So number one, choose a company name. So for example, if we want to go onto the Companies House website, this is basically, you can see here exactly how this works. So you can just go onto the government website and do that. And you're going to choose a name. So we can check the rules. So you need to make sure you're abiding by the rules. Check the name that you want is available. So if we go on here, so let's see. I want to do Dario Quacquarelli YouTube Enterprise. No exact company, so I can register the name under that thing. Let's see if we can do Gymshark. So there you go, you can see here it's already registered, so we can't register that name because it's already registered under Gymshark Limited. So it's been incorporated on the 5th of July 2012. Let's see my company name, Cosmic Camperlands. There you go, my company name, my company number, incorporated on the 15th of March 2017. So we need to choose a name first. Then we need to choose directors and shareholders. So the company's got to have at least one director and one shareholder. So in my company, I'm the main director and the main shareholder. So if we want to go onto onto the Companies House, and I'm just going to show you how this Companies House works. Go into find company information, start now. So you can do this for any company in the UK. So we'll search mine, Cosmic Camperlands. This will tell you where I'm located, etc. Filing history, people. So you can see I'm the only officer and director, and you can basically see my information there. So that will tell you everything about that. You need to have one person, so you don't have to have more than one person to start a limited company. Number 3, you need to prepare the documents. So you need to prepare Memorandum of Association, Articles of Association, Form NI01. Now, when I started my business, efficiency is important, and make sure you get things right. It's kind of similar like a passport registration. I used a system like this called Your Company Formations. Now this is good because really it doesn't charge you a lot of money to do something that you could do yourself, but it's quick. They make sure that the information is correct when you're doing it, and you can also get these little packages, for example, it just makes things a lot easier. And for the sake of what, 50 quid, you can get full everything here if you wanted to, and you get all your things, printer certificates, printer share certificates, limited company. You can even get like I got a nice little paper copy of my company registration certificate, etc. I mean, you can do all this yourself by just going through, doing it all on Companies House, the government, but we all know how the government works in the UK, and things, if you don't do it right, they're just going to charge you money. It's going to take you time. So sometimes it might be easier just to go to one of these companies as you search it in Google, and they'll do it all for you. So that's the way I did it. Now, this is a great way to save money, okay? Do not get an accountancy firm to do this for you, because an accountancy firm will charge you £500 to do what I've just showed you. So straight away, I've just saved you £500, because that's exactly how much I got quoted by my first accountancy firm to set my company up. That shows you how accountants make money. They're just going to charge you money for things that you can do yourself. Now, granted, there's things like doing your accounts, etc., that you don't want, that you want to let them do, and they've got to make money somehow. But simple little things like filing little letters and things through the government website, try and do them yourself, because they'll charge you a fortune to do it. So straight away, stage 500 quid, guys. Okay. Number 4, register your actual company with Companies House. Well, we've just spoken about that. You know, we can do the online one for it. Register for corporation tax, and you need to contact HMRC. You're probably going to need to open or start a government gateway ID, which is like an online portal for all government-related business stuff. And that's really simple. You just press a few buttons and you've registered for corporation tax. You pay it every year. So, number 6, setting up a business bank account. So it's a good idea to make sure that you've got a business account and a personal account. Do not do the same mistake that I made, where I made business purchases through my personal account, and I made personal purchases through my business account. It's going to cause you so much confusion and problems when you come to file your accounts at the end of the year. You're going to have accountants on the end of the phone telling you what's this, sending you spreadsheets, high accountancy fees because they're spending time trying to work out for you. Get a business account as soon as possible, because you need a company number. When you register for it, you can open your business account. I would recommend Starling if they are accepting applications. They're not always accepting application depending on your situation, but Starling for me is the best business bank that I have ever used, because it's all on my phone. I don't need to go to any branches. They've got 24/7 customer service. I've got instant transfer, so I know when someone sent me the money, I don't need to wait around for 2 hours. Security is really quick. So if you can, get an account with Starling or an online bank, because they're just miles ahead of these UK high street banks. I was with NatWest and they were absolutely crap. And make sure that you put in all your business purchases for your business account and your personal purchases for your business. Do not mix them up. Don't do it. You're just going to cause yourself hassle. Right, number 7, register for VAT. So VAT is value added tax. It's 20% on everything. You pay it on your petrol, you're paying it on your supermarket purchases, you pay it on your, if you're buying on a phone, everything that you can think of pretty much in the UK has got VAT. So if you're turnover means how much money you're making of revenue per year. So if you take over £85,000 in transactions in a year, you need to register for VAT. You have to, it's the law. So you'll have to charge 20% on top of everything that you'd usually charge. You charge the same amount, but you're going to take 20% less. However, when you are VAT registered, you can claim back the VAT. And I'm going to do a deep dive on VAT and how that works in my next videos as well. So subscribe to see that and how that you can make that work for you properly, and if it's the right decision to be VAT registered or not. I've also got a couple of points on that on my TikTok account as well. So if you want to go see the 60-second deep dive, 60 seconds, not a deep dive, but if you want to go see them, they're on my TikTok account. So just follow the link below and you'll be able to get to that. So if you do an 85, you have to register for it. Now, here's a point. You can register for VAT without being over 85 grand a year. And there's certain points, so yeah, we'll do that in another video. So, 6-step guide to registering as a sole trader. So, it's pretty much the same, just there's a little bit less in it. So, if we put it on here, for example, you can go onto the government website. So, if you've earned more than £1,000 from self-employment from one tax year to the other, you need to register as a sole trader. Then you need to pay national insurance, and you basically go onto this website and set yourself up. Again, don't get an accountancy firm to do this for you. You can do this very simply yourself. It takes 10 seconds. Follow one of these website guides on exactly how to go through the government the gateway, etc. to do that. But effectively, it's almost exactly the same. You're going to register for self-assessment. You're going to set up a business bank account. You need to keep your records of all your purchases and expenses so you can complete your self-assessment tax return at the end of the year. And then again, even if you're a sole trader, you still need to register for VAT if you're doing over £85,000 a year. One thing to consider as well, and I don't know why this isn't on the 7th, on the other part with the limited company, you might need to register with regulatory bodies. Now, if you're selling cars, for example, and you're selling finance, then you're going to have the joys of trying to be FCA registered. Good luck with that, because I've tried it and it's an absolute pain in the arse. It's expensive and there's lots of different rules. And I mean, granted, because you don't want people getting ripped off by these dodgy people who are doing finance deals, etc. So there is a good part of it, but it is a pain in the arse to do. Then you're going to experience the joys of the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office, who will send you a nice bill every year for absolutely nothing, basically, for storing data. And it's a great example of why the UK has got all these things where they're just going to send you a bill for everything that you never thought of. And yeah, so if you're starting a business, be ready for this, because you're going to get bills from the government for everything now. Okay, so that's the end of the show. Go back onto this page here, leave it on here for a second. So I hope you guys have found this video informative. I'm looking for more subjects to teach people on, so if you've got any questions about that, if you've got a certain problem that you're dealing with in your business, drop me a message. I'm happy to do a video reply or even contact you directly and help you out. My channel is going to be focused on business and lifestyle. So right now, if you've not seen my introduction video and want to learn a bit more about me personally, you can go on to my first video, my introduction video. And yeah, hopefully this has been informative. If it has, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, go follow my socials, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.